So you're thinking about buying a home in Milwaukee. Let's talk about what it really costs, because it's more than just the down payment. The truth is, there are a handful of costs that surprise buyers all the time. So in this video, I'm going to break it down and help you understand how much you really need to buy a home in Milwaukee with real numbers so you don't get blindsided. Because the last thing you want is to empty your savings on the house and then realize you can't even afford a snowblower.
3, 2, 1.
What's up, guys? I'm John Rosick, a local realtor here in Southeast Wisconsin, and I help people every week figure out how to make buying a home here simple and stress-free. Let's jump in. Let's start with the big one, your down payment. Here's the good news. You don't need 20% down. That's a myth that keeps a lot of people renting way longer than they should. Most Milwaukee buyers are putting 3% down with a conventional loan, 3.5% down with an FHA, and if you qualify for VA or USDA, you could even do a 0% down. Now, if you do want to avoid PMI, yes, 20% down is the sweet spot. But for most first-time buyers, that's not realistic. So let's use an example. On a $500,000 home, 3% down is $15,000. 3.5% down, $17,500, and 20% down is $100,000. That is a huge range. So which one is right for you? It depends on your situation. And that's where talking to a good lender makes all the difference. Or you can just ask your parents for a loan, which is basically the same as PMI, but with way more guilt. Now let's talk closing costs. These usually run about 2 to 3% of the purchase price in Wisconsin. That includes things like lender fees, title insurance, recording fees, and your appraisal. So on that same $500,000 home, you're looking at another $10,000 to $15,000. Sometimes you can negotiate with the seller to cover part of that, but in today's market, I wouldn't count on it. That's like ordering a burger and then realizing the fries and the drink cost extra. Next up, inspection and appraisal. In Milwaukee, most standard home inspections run between $400 and $700, depending on the size and the age of the house. Some buyers also choose add-ons like a sewer scope, radon test, or mold testing, which is usually an extra $100 to $300 each. You don't always need additional tests, but they can be important if the home is older, has a basement, or shows signs of past issues. Then there's the appraisal, usually $500 to $700. Most lenders require this early in the process to make sure the house is worth what you're offering. Sometimes you'll pay for it up front, but other times your lender will cover it and roll it right into your closing costs. The inspection protects you from buying a money pit. Think hidden water damage, an old roof, a furnace that's about to die. The appraisal protects your wallet by making sure the house is actually worth what you're offering. Think of the inspection as popping the hood on a car to make sure it runs. The appraisal is making sure the seller isn't charging you Ferrari prices for a Honda. Now here's a big one a lot of people overlook, escrows. Wisconsin property taxes are higher than the national average, about 1.68% compared to the 1.1% nationwide. So on a $500,000 home, that's roughly $8,400 a year just in taxes. Homeowners insurance adds another $1,000 to $1,500 a year depending on the house and the coverage. And here's the kicker. Your lender usually collects a few months worth of taxes and insurance up front at closing to build your escrow account, so you're prepaying a chunk before you even move in. Milwaukee County specifically tends to run a little higher than the state average, while some suburban and rural areas can be lower. So the exact number changes depending on where you buy, but either way, it's a cost that surprises a lot of buyers. This is the part that makes buyers' jaws drop. It's not just your mortgage, it's your taxes and insurance too. Welcome to Wisconsin, where the winters are cold and the property taxes are even colder. The last piece, moving and immediate costs. This is the stuff that nobody thinks about until it's too late. Hiring movers or a renting truck can run anywhere from $500 to $2,000 depending on how much you've got to haul and how far you're going. Then there's the setup stuff, furniture for rooms you didn't have before, a fresh coat of paint, curtains or blinds, maybe swapping out the locks for that peace of mind. Even little things like trash cans, shower curtains, or a lawnmower add up quicker than you expect. And since we're in Milwaukee, make sure to add one more line item: snow removal. If it's your first house here, budget for a snowblower or at least a heavy-duty shovel. Trust me, you'll thank me in January. Because that little plastic shovel you use at your apartment will not stand a chance against a Milwaukee winter. So let's add it all up. To buy a $500,000 home in Milwaukee, you're looking at $15,000 to $100,000 for your down payment, $10,000 to $15,000 for closing costs, around $1,000 to $1,400 for inspection and appraisal, a few thousand in escrows for taxes and insurance, and probably another couple grand to actually move in. The point is, it's more than just the down payment, but with the right plan, it's completely doable. I help people every week figure out the numbers before they buy their first place in Milwaukee. So if you're thinking about buying, call or text me at 608-797-9354 or use the links in the description. I'll help you get the real numbers, not just the Instagram version. And don't worry, I'll even remind you to budget for that snowblower. See you next week.
And if it's quite alright.